Artificial intelligence is not inherently bad, but it is a huge threat to humanity. I want you to consider two scenarios. Number one, let's talk about an HR representative. A typical HR representative might do some hiring and firing. They, will essentially be looking for the best candidates. What they are doing is they're hoping to find someone who's going to be the right match for the position that they are trying to hire for. So, what I want you to think about with artificial intelligence is how the use of artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and cloud computing could completely revolutionize the way that hiring is done. So let's take a scenario where Jenny is our example HR representative who normally, does hiring for a company. She will hire technicians, she'll hire customer service representatives, she'll hire many different types of people. And so in this scenario, Jenny says, okay, well, I need to hire a new customer service representative. In the normal process she would go through, she would essentially say, okay, well, I'm going to interview a bunch of candidates. I'm going to try to figure out which candidate matches the profile that I'm looking for. I'm going to, kind of feel out which ones seem best for the job, and I'm going to make a selection. Now, with artificial intelligence, let's just imagine this scenario going very differently. Imagine that an AI could actually scan every single phone call that the company has ever made, because they're all recorded, every single email that the company has ever sent or received, every single status on the project management board, whether it's done, checked off, missed, late. It could scan for words like late, not on time, reschedule. It could scan for tones, such as the customer was very upset or angry about this particular instance. And it could actually figure out the job that is really needed, not the job that the HR person thinks that they need. And so what could end up happening based on that is all of a sudden you have a profile of what your company actually needs, and it might say, hey, we don't actually need we don't actually need, another technician. We don't actually need another customer support representative. We might need a consultant. We might need a marketer. We might, where you think you need a customer service person, you might just need one more technician. And then it could find that actual job position and compare it across the entire world to the top 5,000 jobs that match that description perfectly. Then it could look for people who are essentially, good fits for that profile. It could find the top candidates based on lots of things. So because of the way that everything is recorded and monitored in the world now, people could essentially make, if they had all the data, a tape of your life, from all the recordings on cell phones, from all of the, all of the videos that you've taken, other people have taken, security camera footage, all of these different components. They could compile an entire video of everything you've ever said and done for your entire life. And so if you take that video and you say, okay, well, we're going to take a look at the tones. We're going to take a look at the areas of growth. We're going to take a look at how all of that plays out. You could then compare that person on a profile analysis to the job that they are potentially being fitted for. And so what ends up happening is, with a click of a button, you can analyze the top 1,000 jobs that match what you actually need. Then you can analyze, the top 1,000 people whose profiles, in terms of the way they use language, their past experience, the things they say, the things they do, are the best fit for that job. And you could predict, hey, you have a 98% chance of having success if you hire this person. And that all of a sudden renders Jenny completely obsolete. And it completely changes the way that hiring is done, because all of a sudden the hiring process becomes an algorithmic match that is mostly based on the data that the computer is actually allowed to access. And so the question becomes one of privacy. Are people's personal information, is people's personal information allowed to be used for this type of service? What's publicly indexable? What's the ethics in regards to this? The second situation I would consider is a surgeon. right now a surgeon is considered to be one of the higher value jobs in the world because everyone's very concerned, obviously, for very good reason, about having their bodies cut open, and they're very concerned about the long-term effects that might have. And so, for a surgeon to do a really good job, they are good at one primary thing, and that's pattern recognition. They have done, 100 surgeries before where they do XYZ with an appendix or a gallbladder, and they know what to do to ensure the best possible outcome. Here's the problem. What is much better at pattern recognition than a human being? Well, a robot or a computer is certainly much better at pattern recognition than a human being is. And so what else is a robot way better at than human beings? Well, precision. Being extremely precise with instruments is a better job for a robot than a human. And so all of a sudden you have this profession that has been dominated by humans who are paid very well to do a very complicated, excruciating, challenging job. And now you have it being taken over by robots that can do that job so much better and faster and more efficiently with less risk. Because not only can they analyze the surgeries that they have performed before, like a surgeon could, they can also analyze every surgery that has ever been performed across the entire world, so long as that data is accessible. So that starts to ask the question, is what happens with healthcare data? And so one of the projects I'm working on right now is a form of democratizing healthcare data in order to make it more open source, and not in terms of giving away patients' HIPAA information or anything like that, but in volunteering information in order to allow people to make smarter choices with their healthcare that are backed up by data from actual people sourced in the field. So there are some great positive concepts that can really help people, but we also could see every surgeon out of a job. I'm a computer programmer by trade. I thrive on pattern recognition. Recognizing patterns and being able to assemble things based on patterns is a huge part of my job. So we have to think about what's going to happen with industry and business and technology and everything that's going on as a result of artificial intelligence being able to take the place of and do things much better than humans ever could in a lot of these scenarios. And that is something that we need to be processing through ahead of the game before this happens. Truck drivers. We'll give you one more example. That's the dominant profession in 3 different states. A truck driver, what sort of industry are they supposed to go into when that gets automated? I drove a Tesla recently and did very little of the driving. It changed lanes, it got off exits, it parked itself. I didn't do a lot of the driving for that drive. Truck drivers are going to be in trouble. And what happens when truck drivers all across the nation are out of work? We have to figure out some sort of solution. So I want to start talking with other people about what the solutions are to actually, make sure that human beings can be benefited by these new changes in technology and not made obsolete.